Well, you will feel nervous, but I will make you this promise. If you are feeling nervous about your test, it's the build-up. It's the thought of it.
Yeah. Could we please ask you a favour?
Now, currently, only 25% of our viewers are subscribing.
We would absolutely love to get this to 50%.
It's free to subscribe and it makes such a difference to us.
If you enjoy watching our videos, please just hit the subscribe button and it will do us such a good favour.
And really make our channel grow.
That's why I'm glad I've got
It's the thought of it.
early.
And yeah, absolutely. I always want my exams first thing. I don't want to think I want to get up and go. Mm-hmm. I mean, when I did my motorbike exam, was I feeling anxious beforehand? Of course I was.
Yeah.
So because I couldn't drive, why are you feeling anxious? Because you care about the outcome.
Yeah, exactly.
If you do the driving test, you didn't care if you have a licence or not. Why would you feel nervous?
Exactly. And why would you be doing
When you
it
did
in
the
the first
GCSEs, you feel a bit anxious going in. But think back, you thought, oh gosh, it's nearly 9 o'clock, and it's 9 o'clock. Turn the paper over, you see the answer questions, and you feel happy about it, or happier. So literally, within 2 minutes, you just got to be very careful the first 2-3 minutes that you don't do anything daft because of the effect that adrenaline does to your body. It either speeds you up, makes you hesitant, or it's freeze or freeze. It's basically that freeze or fight or flight, freeze. So there's no point saying don't be nervous. Please expect it.
Yeah, I know that I'd be nervous.
It's all part of the process.
Yeah.
Don't mistake it for, oh shit, I can't do this. Because you can. You wouldn't be going to test.
Exactly, and you wouldn't say.
I wouldn't put you forward to test with my name on the side of the car if you didn't drive.
Yeah, like if you didn't think I was capable of passing,
Well, it's not passing. Are you capable? I've got you to a stage where I know that you can drive confidently and independently without any supervision. So you're driving, you're not finding out on test day whether you can do that. We've decided that, and we know what test we've brought you to, and I think that's the right. By now, I'm projecting ahead just based on my experience from what you're going to do now, and you've got private practice in. You're going to be more than ready for that test date, and I project by then, projecting ahead to that moment, you'll be a safe, confident, independent driver.
Yeah.
So the lesson before, or a couple of lessons before, I would think, oh, do you know what? I'm going to lie in the back, have a bit of a nap. Can you drive me to, I don't know, drive me to Thorpe Park when we get there, Em? And if I was happy doing it, then you're driving to a standard because what if you can get through a test and not be ready for the road on your own or be independent. You fluke it. It's only 40 minutes. You could go down that slip road. There's nothing on the dual carriageway. Have you been tested on busy slip roads? No. Come to a roundabout. There's nothing to your right. Have you been tested on roundabouts? No. The lights stay on green. Have you been tested on how you react to an amber light? No. You're only tested on what you tested. Presented them, so it doesn't prove anything. It's great that people pass the first time, pass the driving test, they pass the first time. It's not. The test isn't the thing to discover if you can drive.
Yeah.
It's just it's a very, in a lot of ways, it's a very flawed test. And there's no probation period. There's no integrated steps. No stage 1, and you can control the car. Stage 2, you can do stage 3, and it should be.
Just go.
If the car was invented today, and there's this many cars on the road, our driving test would not look like the driving test. Nobody would design and go, hey, this is a great system of deciding whether someone can drive or not.
Really?
I don't think so.
What do you think they would do instead?
At the moment, the test is, have you done anything wrong? Not how well you've done something. And I would integrate the driving test with insurance companies. When we become driving instructors, we have 17 criteria for did you give instructions in a timely and a correct manner, for example. And your measures 0, 1, 2 or 3. 0, you never did. 3 all the time, most of the time, some of the time, and 2 points for most of the time. Now you could do that into meeting and passing, junctions, observations, and you can mark it 0 to 3. So a pass is a given, but let's say you passed, you could say you passed with 80 out of 100, you got a grade A, and with that grade A, insurance company would reflect that and give you a much better premium because you passed with an A, and that would encourage people to really train, not just get through a test. And then make an incentive from that and make it a positive thing. The fact you can drive should be a given on the driving test. It's how well you did it. And
I think that makes sense.
But our driving test, DVSA, is just it's a safety test. Going, oh, did you do anything wrong? Not how well you did.
Do something wrong.
Were you mediocre for 40 minutes? Were you just about? Did you reach a minimum standard? That's all right then. So it needs to be more of an assessment. That's what I think. But we are where we are. What do you know about the driving test, Em? What happens? It's now magically your test day.
30 minutes, 38, 40 minutes.
30, 40 minutes.
You know what? I actually don't know a huge amount. I know that
I know you start here and you finish here.
Well, what we do, what time is your test?
You got a manoeuvre, it's at 9:07.
I know that because I swapped it this morning.
I know you did.
I should know that. That was three-way swap, that was.
Three-way swap.
Oh, my poor little brain at 9 o'clock this morning trying to work out everyone's things from WhatsApp messages and things.
Thank you.
Thank you, DVSA, for being sat on the lovely Catherine at the DVSA, who's like, she should have shuttered Richard. So your test, I swapped with Rebecca's one, and Rebecca kindly moved their student out to 2:32.
That same day?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because I remember.
So I've still got one at 2 o'clock, and I've got an additional one, your one at 9 o'clock.
Brilliant.
So you got your test. We know it's at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
We know it's at 7 minutes past 9. What we do is, on this test centre, you don't go in the car park until 10 minutes before.
Yeah.
Some test centres are 5 minutes. I don't go into that waiting room until, on your test, 6 minutes past 7. You do not want to sit in a room thinking about things with 6 other nervous people. It's like contagion. It spreads, it grows, it's awful. So we literally, and believe me, they're not coming out early. So then at 7 minutes past 9, we just get in there, 7 minutes past 9, they'll come out and say, Emily, and you there go, hello, like that, and you present your provisional licence.
Yeah.
To them, motorbikes, they're doing the what twos. Oh, bless them. And they'll say, Emily, whoever it is, whichever examiner, 6 at a time, go out at this test centre per hour. Yeah.
Okay.
Take your card, have a look at you, your face flashes up on their tablet to make sure you are who you say you are, and they go, right, that's fine. A couple of questions, and the declaration, to say that the car you're presenting to test is insured and for the purposes and fit for purpose of the test. Yes, it is, of course, it's going to take my car. And you have been a resident for 185 days in the UK.
Yeah.
Yeah, good.
Why 185?
I don't know.
Yeah, why would you know?
I'm sure it's 185. I'm sure that is what it is.
Yeah.
Okay, 2 questions you have to answer. Number 1, do you want anyone to accompany you on your driving test today?
Yes.
Me? I'm coming, am I?
Yeah.
Woo. And excellent. I so much like that as well. I prefer doing that.
Yeah.
Because I get to see what you've done.
You can sit in the back and
if
just be
you
like,
weren't,
"Oh."
no, I don't do that. I have to sit there like this,
Oh gosh.
motionless.
Oh God, actually.
Number of times I got told off for doing blind spot checks and things like that. I said, stop doing that. So I sit in the back there, and I get to see any new test routes. I get to see your test, and I get to mark it, and making sure I'm marking more consistently with the examiners are as well. So your test day experience, because my mock tests is better because people in the past have allowed me to come out on the driving test. So they've kind of done one for the team, and me coming at you, it makes next generation coming through.
Yeah, you improve from it.
Absolutely, I improve from it as a person as well. The other question would be, do you want your examiner to hear your feedback at the end? Well, right, make your way out. They always walk. They're after you, and they'll watch you walk out there. It's like a protocol to watch you go out there. You get to the edge of the test centre door. The car park over here, coincidentally, is about 20.5 metres, so you just ask to read the number plate from, they'll know which car is yours, obviously.
Yeah. And
you ask to then, get in the car, they'll do an inspection of the car, little, like, are the wheels bowled or anything, chipped windows or anything that's obviously non-roadworthy.
Yeah.
Get in the car, write my details down, and then explain the test. Would you like me to explain the test today? And they go, yeah, you'll be driving for 40 minutes, driving in front of different road types. Always follow the road ahead at all times unless the road markings or signs tell you otherwise. I'll give you directions left and right in good time.
Okay.
They'll explain that you'll be doing an independent section, and probably explain that moment will be the sat-nav or the, I'm talking about.
How do they put a sat-nav on?
Yeah, it's this one.
Follow it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the TomTom Start 52.
Wow. Brilliant. I've never seen one of those in my life.
It's awful. Jenny.
Can you not just like connect up Google Maps, do you think?
No, how these thing about these ones is they record the route.
Oh, okay.
So what they do, the test centre manager will go out with a TomTom, do a new test route, and then it's because it was an SD card, then it's spread it to all the other examiners things. So everyone's got. Can you imagine if they Google this and Google that? How do you get a test route on?
That's
it's the only way of doing it, unfortunately. But the consequences of it, it was like it came in 2017. It was a bit of a piece of rubbish kit back then. and it hasn't got any better. It's not like a fine wine that's been put down. Does not improve with age. So it's a bit clunky. What we will do with this, which is a very good idea, is to further down the line follow. In fact, you might even follow it home today, but turn the voice off so you can just see the picture and follow it by the picture only.
Okay.
It has a horrible habit of giving very late directions. And when we go up to the A14 up there, junction 9, it doesn't give the direction to go whatever, second exit, fifth exit, until you're about 50 metres away from it, and it's too late to come across.
So you just gotta know.
So it's caused so many problems.
Really?
So you need to have a look at it, and what a great tip is for that junction 9 to start off with is to memorise the 4 routes it goes. So Huntingdon, second exit Wellingborough, third exit Pytchley, fourth exit Midlands, fifth exit, 2 and 3 on the left, those 2 on the right. So if you hear the word or go to head towards Pytchley, you don't have to look at the planning board. You know it's going to be the right hand side fourth exit. Just get that first, because you still have that bit of adrenaline getting out your system. That's where it goes wrong. So yes, we don't ride for a test, but because you're nervous, you do a couple of things to help you to redress the balance of the effect of the detrimental effect of having your nerves. So you do little tips like that to help you with that. There we are. So you've been told you'll be doing sat nav, and also been told you'll be doing a reversal parking manoeuvre, maybe an additional emergency stop.
Yeah, the emergency stop I've heard about those. You just stop, don't you?
Do you know what a brake is?
Yeah.
Do you know how to hit it hard?
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what an emergency is? Do you know when you would stop for an emergency?
Yep.
Imagine the child ran out.
Exactly. Got it.
So get over it. Don't even do it until the end. Really, is that insignificant?
Yeah.
1 in 3 tests will have that as an additional exercise, not a manoeuvre.
Oh, okay. So but it's not something that's everyone has to do.
Only 1 in 3.
Okay. Interesting.
So it's a bit of a hangover from the old days. These days you've got ABS braking. You can't skid a car. In the old days, you had brakes would lock up. You have to use what's called cadence braking to control the car. So you're literally pumping the brakes, it doesn't skid and locks. The only reason you've got ABS braking doesn't stop you any quicker. It just means you can actually steer.
Yeah.
Whilst you get around. Then they told you to do 2 safety questions. The first one's a tell me question. So can you tell me please, Emily? And the question will be, can you tell me how the brakes are working before you set off on this journey, as you set off on this journey? And you tell them that you would test the brakes and they wouldn't feel slack or spongy and the car wouldn't pull to one side or another.
Okay.
Or can you tell me how the indicators are working? And you would say,
I can see them all.
yeah, put them on, walk around and have a look at the lights. It's that simple. It's really that simple. There we are. Do you want to follow sat nav for your independent section? Or would you like me to give you board signs for this lovely mock test?